Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Greene, and you're tuning into AMTV, Alternative Media Television. And this is the truth about every dipshit American out there that now overwhelmingly supports U.S. airstrikes in Iraq and Syria, according to a CNN poll I read this morning and an alleged independent third-party pollster from ORC International that said again, overwhelmingly, that Americans support U.S. airstrikes and Obama's new wars in Iraq and Syria. Again, the trifecta in the Middle East, Libya, Iraq, and Syria, and soon to be Iran. So I guess it'll be kind of like a quadruple war. Kind of looking like with 4 countries, that might be like global. That could be maybe a world war. But again, we don't want to get into too much conspiracy theory, even though people like me for the past 5 years largely predicted the airstrikes, predicted the wars. In fact, didn't just largely predict it. In fact, I have even a playlist that we just put out last week with over 50 videos, the ones that we could find since 2011, some even before that, predicting airstrikes in Syria, a war with Iraq, and then U.S. ground troops and a global war. Again, though, I'm the nut job. I'm the conspiracy theorist with a critical thought about the warmonger in chief that makes up the president that again continues to lie to the American people on a daily basis. But back to this poll that I read this morning that said an overwhelming majority of Americans support the new wars, support the airstrikes, but not U.S. ground troops. There could be not a bigger contradiction there. There could be not more hypocrisy in that poll. Which, by the way, if you look at the poll actually more specifically, you'll see that ORC only took a sampling of about 1,000 people of registered voters, but don't tell us where, location-wise, that they polled the respondents. So they could have polled them in a very slanted liberal leftist state and then pitched that to the American people through CNN, so now more Americans support the egregious, aggressive offensive in this part of the world. But again, the Obama administration and these PCers, these political correctors that I like to call them, that really like to eat their own dirty diaper. They like to be fed their own dog shit by the president. They like to play the semantics game like the president does. Again, he doesn't go to war, this president. He fights humanitarian offensives. He's saving people from dictators overseas by bombing them. Yeah, that's right. It's a comprehensive military engagement to democratize the Middle East. They're always polishing the turd of war. He'll reemphasize, emphasize, and reemphasize that he's not sending U.S. ground troops, but sending bombs is okay. Yeah, it's okay that through an Xbox-type game device that we can drone strike what has been propagandized to us as ISIS militant fighters, terrorists on the ground that, by the way, have only been emboldened by the Obama administration, Obama arming these insurgents directly. Again, that's all factual information. It's been pointed out by a number of people, ranging from historian and actual independent journalists like myself. But he'll polish the turd. Americans don't want to admit to themselves that when we drone strike Syria and Iraq, that as a byproduct of that, we're murdering innocent men, women, and children. That these are war crimes. That when we drop a bomb from a facility in Nevada using a computer screen to target ISIS terrorists, and when it accidentally shards from that same bomb, dismembers about a dozen or so innocent children that are trying to be taught a lesson that morning because they happen to be in the same vicinity, Americans really don't want to feel the reality of that. They don't want to get their hands dirty. At least ISIS, a very barbaric, dangerous, violent terrorist organization, at least they have the balls to show the American people that war is hell. They also have the balls to show you just how violent war actually is. They're not afraid to get blood on their hands. Not like this scumbag at the president, the helm of the United States of America today. He's going to sell it as a con job. He's going to sell it as a humanitarian effort. I mean, it's gotten so far now with this, emphasizing of no boots on the ground, which again, you're an idiot to think that there's no boots on the ground. Even the president has admitted that he has 1,400 advisors in the region. He can't even call them troops. They're advisors, again, for his humanitarian mission. He'll cite things like, oh, we're saving people, religious people being persecuted on a mountaintop, so it's okay that we're bombing and murdering innocent men, women, and children, yet alone actually helping the Bashar al-Assad government right now by bombing ISIS, a bold contradiction that Obama can't even explain when he's interviewed because there is no logical explanation outside the fact of what we've been telling you for years, that this has all been part of the agenda to destroy and wipe out the entire Middle East with Iran as the next target. But again, Americans don't want to get their hands dirty. So, if you're one of the dipshit American sheeple that actually should support this war, I think you should have to go out in public and let the world know that you support murder, that you support the slaughter of innocent men, women, and children, civilians. You should have to wear a t-shirt that say, I support the Obama murder of children. You should have to wear it to work, wear it out to the public. And not only that, you should have to take it a step further. You should have to fly to these very violent, dangerous countries right now that the U.S. is airstriking, the airstrikes that you allegedly support overwhelmingly. And you should have to find a quote-unquote Islamic radical terrorist that's been propagandized to you, at least in your own mind, even though the majority of Americans hadn't even heard of ISIS a couple of months ago. But now suddenly this phantom boogeyman that's been created in the image of the predecessor, Osama bin Laden, a prior boogeyman that Obama allegedly destroyed. You should have to seek out one of these radical Islamist terrorists from ISIS, or what they call ISIL, in this part of the world and behead one of these individuals yourself. You should have to actually get the blood on your hands, just like ISIS has shown clearly to the world. Instead of using a serrated knife and making it easy, you should have to use a butter knife, a really dull knife. And you should actually have to work at it for a while, maybe a couple of days, hear the actual shrieking of that human being, that other individual that we're murdering over there right now. Not just terrorists, but innocent men, women, and children. All a byproduct of the U.S. airstrikes led in this part of the world. They're drone strikes, folks, so it's okay. This bullshit PC society that, as long as it doesn't happen in my backyard, no one cares. George Carlin used to cite that a lot. Not in my backyard, he would say. Americans don't really care. And see, they don't want to really identify, they don't want to admit to themselves the crimes that Obama is actually committing. Again, they don't want to get blood on their hands. I mean, they'll rise very easily to any opportunity that CNN pushes to them, that puts up and presents to them on a silver platter any hint of racism or political incorrectness. They'll be on the front lines looting Walmarts and QTs as a result of the tragic Ferguson, Missouri shooting. They'll get behind Trayvon Martin immediately. They will publicly assassinate people like former Clippers owner Donald Sterling, even though what he said was taken in a private setting and put out to the American people, and then basically the NBA character assassinated him. And it sounded very racist to me as well, but again, these were things said in his private home and then stolen from him, wiretapped by some hooker he was banging at the time who profited in the millions. And then conveniently, his competitors were able to buy his very profitable and lucrative Clippers team. That America that will get behind looting, that will get behind these racially driven events propagated by organizations like the mainstream media that makes up CNN today, that will respond to these CNN, ORC, alleged third-party independent polls, but won't actually get any blood on their hands. I mean, you won't find Obama's daughters fighting on the front lines in Iraq, Syria right now. You won't find the horse's mouth that makes up Hillary Clinton's daughter, Chelsea, this institutionalized, higher learning dipshit that has no real world experience whatsoever, but because she spent a couple semesters at Oxford, somehow gets paid over $500,000 by CNN to comment on shit she knows nothing about, has no real life world experience at all. That's the society that we live in today. This politically correctness society, the political correctors that love eating and polishing their own turd. It's kind of, again, like eating their own dirty diaper, that actually believe the lie spewed to them by this scumbag that makes up the President of the United States today. At least George W. Bush had the balls to tell Americans and look them in the eye and say he was going to bomb these new countries. He was going to bomb independent, sovereign nations on your behalf. But not this president. No, he's going to sell it as a con job. He's going to polish that turd. He's going to make it real sweet, make it sound real good. I mean, the president at this point could actually round up vast swaths of the American population, send them into internment camps, gas them like Hitler, and he would sell it like it was a humanitarian effort. He would sell it like it was some cleansing opportunity to rid the American people from Tea Party patriots, what he would frame as terrorists, and the American people would buy off on it. Again, the American people are so easily manipulated, the public opinion so easily skewed, that all it took was a couple fake beheadings, and again, I've never argued that those beheadings didn't actually take place. What I've argued is that they were intelligence agency propaganda pieces being positioned by the West to position American people and the American support for the war overseas taking place right now. And it's exactly what we have. With a recent CNN poll that I checked on earlier this morning, from what they call an independent third party, ORC, but it's really not independent at all, saying that the overwhelming majority of the Obama lovers that like to kind of lick his balls on a daily basis, you know, and vote for this asshole that is destroying our country, support this war now. Again, they don't support U.S. ground troops because that would be a real war. But somehow drone strikes and U.S. airstrikes and the killing of innocents that way isn't war. It's like a video game to them. You know, they don't actually have to behead these individuals themselves. Again, at least ISIS has the balls. At least they're willing to show you and show America that war is hell. That war is very ugly, it's deadly, it's murder, and it's exactly what Obama's committing overseas today. On your behalf, the overwhelming majority of the American people that support the war overseas, that hated George W. Bush, but love Obama, love this new, not just regional war, but world war in this part of the world. And again, the next target on the map of this president, of this scumbag, of this liar, of this humanitarian, this Nobel Peace Prize winner is Iran. It's going to get much, much worse in the very, very, very near future. I'm Christopher Greene. Get this video out everywhere, make it viral, hard-hitting it in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor. Check out our sponsor, JM Bullion, right now, the most trusted dealer in precious metals, offering a wide selection of products, including silver and gold coins from all of the government mints. Free shipping for AMTV subscribers.